Get on my level, doing 125 in my own lane, pedal to metal. One thing that I won't let you do, and that's gas me up. Keep my eyes open, letting nothing pass me up. Oh, I refuse to let you block my shine, no, not today. Oh, and I ain't going out to fight, no, not today.
I'll take the light, you hold the camera, don't need more. Ready for action, I'm never lacking, I've seen war. FaceTimes, great minds couldn't conceive or couldn't relate, was robbed the chance to see more. So I aspire to reach higher, the fire inside of me burns brighter until I blow up like C4. Great shit, make hits, deep as the sea floor. Paste it, race gets long as the seashore. My star rising, they see me shining like I done been dipped in diamonds, but I be like, where the haters, they seem sure. It's all crickets, they on my dick like a seesaw. With no ticket, it's so sickening, please pause. As I provide the soundtrack to bounce back from each loss until we reach a target, we proceed course. It's no quitting, the clock's ticking. I seen how the plot thickens. Regardless, I never let it throw me
I
off.
want the shit, boy, get on my level, doing 125 in my own lane, pedal to metal. One thing that I won't let you do, and that's gas me up. Keep my eyes open, letting nothing pass me up. Oh, I refuse to let you block my shine, no, not today. Oh, and I ain't going out to fight, no, not today.
Yo, it's Wednesday. We are back for another brand new episode of What the Shit. I know, that's crazy. Some people dance.
No, it's just old girl in the you can tell that's a quote unquote barbecue, but she hitting off that lane from
Yeah, she got
Seinfeld.
the legs moving. So,
Like,
Chris, what's going on?
It was happening, man. It's What the Shit Wednesday.
Indeed.
If you could be anywhere else, why not just be here with us?
Why not? I mean, you know, it's
We're likable. We're likable characters.
We're
We
good
like to have a
lads
good
and
time.
gents.
Yeah, we don't cause no harm, no troubles.
None. So, how was your day?
I got a new mic.
Yeah,
I got a new mic. I'm feeling good. I celebrated my anniversary recently, and this was my gift, was this new microphone from the wife. So thank you, Queen Val, for this gift. I'm sure I'll be paying for it in numerous ways.
Oh.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
you say, oh. Did the honeydew list just doubled up instead of just trying to say?
She bought that mic. She was like,
surprise, motherfucker.
Yo,
got him.
Yes, indeed. We only got one guest today. They'll be here around 8:30. So we got some time to kill, some news and notes I want to get to. Spent an off day cleaning my carpet. Nothing fun, nothing crazy. Just carpet cleaning. Because I had a honey-do list.
You know what? That can actually be weirdly therapeutic.
It was cathartic. I was like, you know what? I'm going to clean my carpet. Shout out to Walmart, man. If you don't own a carpet cleaner, and this is no, they don't pay me to say this. Shout out to Walmart. Shout out to Bissell, man. I bought a carpet cleaner, and I was like, I'm getting old as fuck because I'm actually excited about buying a carpet cleaner. I officially have hit that age where carpet cleaners are exciting to me now.
Oh, that's gonna look nice. It's like me looking for a snowblower. Just like,
Me and wife were talking about, I was like, I was gonna rent one from Walmart, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't really know if I want to do that. And then I was like, why not buy one? I looked into buy one, and there it was, boom, for the perfect thing, man. Paid for it a while back, used it a few times. Great thing. Serena Williams has left the building.
But you know what? She left one hell of a legacy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she started before Twitter,
For
before
real,
Facebook,
yes.
before high def television. She started before a lot of things happened, man. So she spanned a long ass time. 1995 to now is a long ass time. How old do you feel?
Okay.
Like Serena's been around since the fucking sidekicks, pagers.
Sidekicks and pagers.
Like she's been around forever. Like, and it's just, I'm kind of sad, even though, don't tell nobody, I ain't never watched tennis. And if I did, it was only because of her. And it wasn't because I like tennis. It was because of her.
She has
so
a very good showing, if you know what we mean.
Yeah, she's showing. But it's crazy because, you know, we're getting to a point in time where it's at the end of a lot of eras. For some reason, Tom Brady decided to bring his chin out. Oh, and he got surgery. So if those who don't know, Tom Brady took a leave of absence to get some work done facially. He wanted to look like Squidward when he got that
there's something to be said about that from what I was hearing beyond that this morning. But I'll let you finish that part, and I'll tell you what that is.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's like for those who have never seen the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward gets the chisel to Donald face, that's what he looks like. He now looks like super booty chin.
The nigga chin.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. Like he just decided, like in the middle of training camp, I'm gonna go get some work done. Not for me, guys, but for you, because I want to look my best when you guys see me.
So
this last year,
this is because it's funny that you mentioned that part, and the fact that Gazelle Bunchen, which is his wife, you know, they're currently not on speaking terms.
Oh wow.
And it's due to him wanting to go back to play football. And you know how much we joked about him taking that time off and then turn around like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and play. And now he's got the booty chin thing going on. It was like, my guy, are you in hiding? Are you
witness protection?
Like, are you trying to disappear? Like, did home life really get at you like that?
Let's look at it. I don't feel bad for Tom Brady. I'm gonna say that first and foremost.
Oh no, God, no! Like that's far
Brady
from it
at all. I love my home. I kind of like being home. Sometimes to the detriment of not being home, because when I'm not at home, I want to be home. I love my house. You know, I got everything I want right here.
It's where your peace should be at.
Yeah, but imagine being Tom Brady. You won 16 Super Bowls, billions of dollars, people just loving you, and then you got to go home and fit your kids in sink or take the kids to school and walk the dog and do normal people shit for the first time in like 30 years. Imagine that.
That's a culture
Imagine
shot.
being a normal ass Tom Brady. What does that look like?
That's a culture shot. You figure your wife is a supermodel and now she's a at home mother. That's a
Now
culture
you got to
shot.
be at home with a retired model who just spends time in the bathroom telling you to do shit. You have no peace. Like there's nothing Tom Brady can do at home. Like, what is he going to do? PTA meetings, bake sales, coach a local peewee football team.
You said bake sales.
Yeah, can you imagine Tom Brady making truffles and tag-alongs at the house for
the tag-along
for the Girl Scouts,
the Samoans.
Yeah,
and the
like Tom Brady doing manual labor at this point in his career at 62. Can you picture that?
Here's the key, Tom Brady. The money is in the shortbreads. The money.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. The money's in the shortbreads. You hustle them out.
You got it.
You're gonna be like Nicky Barnes up in this joint.
Oh yeah, you be high priced celebrities, man. They be making songs about you, Blue Magic. Speaking of Blue Magic, Francis Tiafoe ends the Americans U.S. Finals drought. He is the first man since Andy Roddick in 2016, and probably the first black man since Arthur Ashe.
Yes.
Shout out to him. Let's give my man
some
with a
major
weird ass last
accomplishment.
name.
For real. There's some major accomplishments that's being made in sports entertainment world. So
But his name is Francis Tiafoe. So I don't know.
it's like he's French.
Yeah, almost. I feel like he's one of us, but not one of us. Speaking of one of us, but not one of us, iPhone is making an iPhone 4.
Teen.
Yeah. Well, there's so many of them, I lose count. And then they're also redoing the headphones. So for $50 billion, here's what you get in the new headphones. The case comes with a speaker and a lanyard clip. Ooh.
Ooh, lanyards.
Cutting edge.
Okay, what does the speaker look like? Because I heard about the release today, but I didn't bother to look at the video.
The case is the speaker.
Oh, the case is the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a lanyard clip. Ooh, cutting edge.
I'd have to see what that looks like. I wouldn't get it because I'm good with my 13. It's still in its very much good use. It's nowhere near full.
I refuse to switch. Every time I switch, they come out with a new phone like 2 days later. Shit just makes no sense.
So, but that's the okay. Did they go back to the regular charge cord?
Nope.
Also, they still went with the what is that? The USB-C.
Yeah.
With the little
And now they got a new smartwatch. Like Apple is just at this point just making shit just to make it. Like they really don't.
They really are milking the teat, as it were. Like they're not even trying. It's like you have no true look. We know there's competition in the smartphone game. We get it. But you don't necessarily have to make a new phone every year.
Well, if you're Apple, you do, because for some reason them niggas is bored as fuck.
It's like you're either at one point it was cutting edge tech. It was cutting edge tech. Like if I have to see what the speaker, the case as the speaker, I would have to see what that looks like. Nice. It sounds like it's a nice feature. I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. But it sounds like it's a nice feature. It sounds like, but once again, it's a feature. It's not a function.
You know what Apple is doing? Apple is the Leonardo DiCaprio of technology. So as that technology gets too old to date, they come up with some new young shit every so often. Leonardo could have Leonardo. Let's just call him that because I don't. This dude waits till his girls get to the age of 26 and moves on.
You kind of can't get mad at him because he's modeling the Jack Nicholson and the older Hollywood, I should say. Not old Hollywood, because when you say old Hollywood, people think like way back. I mean like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s Hollywood. Those cats, the older cats, the Jack Nicholsons in what's his name? He played Odin in Thor. Thor's daddy, but you get what I'm saying. It's not the new crew where you get this new fresh blood and everything else. No. You got even George Clooney is starting to be in that.
Fat nipples.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 13. See, it makes no sense. Shout out to Ohio State. They won their first game over the weekend. Had everybody nervous as fuck. Boy, dude.
Because they looked like it was touch and go a little bit there, man. But they was able to pull it out. Just the college football, just football being back, period, for me is like
college football is actually quite entertaining, especially if you got the right marching bands. And Old State.
Yeah,
they got one of the best. Now, of course, that doesn't mean the HBCUs got them all beat. I don't care. Just pick one. It doesn't matter.
No, not at all.
They show up to play.
Shout out to LeBron James for flip-flopping between teams again. He decided to show up. Him and the fam was at Columbus, sparking many rumors that Bronny might be going to Ohio State this when he get a chance on scholarship.
He could go to Central State too, though.
That's Central State. Yeah, I doubt it. But yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shout out to Brian. They came back. A lot of people talked about it. Jason Tatum was there, which was like the weirdest
That
fucking
is
thing
awkward.
to see. Is Jason Tatum in Ohio State uniform, like, or jersey? Like, what on God's green earth was Jason Tatum doing? One in Ohio, period. Like, that's just like, was you slumming it, my nigga? Like, Boston wasn't enough for you. You had to come to Ohio to just wear a jersey and be on the sidelines, whatever. But it still just looks weird. And I don't have a great explanation. Like, I never heard the true story behind why he was there. Like, I didn't see if he did the coin toss or something. Like, why was he there?
I can say this. Just those two alone, well, three if you count Bronny. Just the hype around that alone causes a lot of hype for Old State. As if it didn't already have it. Like, that just caused it. Like, and I mean, and that's good, and it's good hype. It's really good hype. They just like, yeah, yo, LeBron came through to visit. You know, that's all they need. You know, now you got. Let's just say this rumor mill went for a minute. All right, there's no definite. We're not gonna know until like the day of or whatever the case may be. However, they decide to announce that. But the hype that will surround it, don't let it start sounding like Bronny might entertain the idea. Just the word of might. That will cause a lot of other high school ball players to want to just like, hey, I'm going here. And Old State has a great program, but let that rumor mill just sink in for a little bit, and they're gonna go crazy. You know how folks did. Look what happened when LeBron left that first time. Look at the hype behind that.
Yeah.
Like, and they were just like, yeah, he's not leaving. He's going to stay. He ended up going to Miami, but the hype that was around that, like the entire city of Cleveland itself was bananas. So just, yeah.
Speaking of bananas, shout out to the black dude who decided to get his hair cut at the U.S. Open in the stands. That's black.
You gotta leave your mark somewhere.
My man was like, you know what I want to do? I want to pay $50,000 to watch tennis and get a haircut at the same time.
Because I paid good money. So
yeah?
I'm not leaving.
Speaking of leaving, Swiss retailer stole our idea, Chris. They are making chocolate coffee balls. I feel like
God damn it.
Yeah, I think they beat us to it. They're coffee balls, but they're in plastic containers. So I don't know. They beat us to it. So apparently we were too slow.
Son of a bitch. We were looking in the wrong direction. We were looking at South Park thinking we're doing something.
Well, I don't know if you guys seen this video, but there's a dog named Flip. And Flip decided to go into the water because he wanted to chill at the beach. Flip met a big ass whale and almost got his little monkey ass ate. Flip flopped.
Tell me you got footage of this. Tell me.
I do, but because of the emotional distress of the white woman who was there, I cannot and will not make her relive it again. But it's on Facebook, and it's definitely, you didn't hear this from me, but it's definitely funny as hell. I don't condone dog violence, but this dog decided that it wanted to.
You're talking to someone who literally watches epic fail videos and drunken delight videos and knows give me it's extreme pleasure of laughing at them. It's just what it is. Yeah. There's nothing like watching or what's the other one? They call it kids getting hurt, but they're not really getting hurt.
Oh, they're getting hurt. Speaking of getting hurt, shout out to Detroit for being wildly amusing this over the past couple of weeks. They had this giant ass slide where everybody was getting their motherfucking kidneys broke.
Bacchiotomies and everything.
I've seen a motherfucking girl. She was like, whoo. Funniest thing ever.
I don't know. I don't understand why you've seen the damage this thing can do.
See, I don't think they ever grew up as a kid and had them big giant ass iron slides that was hot as shit that threw you about 40 feet in the air.
Yeah.
That's why I hate roller coasters. Shit like that. Like that is they. You know what they did though? They was like, we're gonna wet the sides and give everybody burlap sacks and see if that slows down momentum off this big ass
Nightmare
hill.
waiting to happen. I'm just like sitting there. I'm like,
Oh,
there's
it
no
was
way in
gold.
hell. And I seen it on the news. They were talking about like, yeah, the way to go down these things, you got to lean forward. I'm like, no, the way to go down these things is to stand your ass at the bottom and just watch somebody else fuck themselves up.
Yeah, I was about to say the only way to go down is to not. That's just.
I'm not getting. Oh, it's fun. It's safe. No, it ain't. I just seen that woman catch a whole concussion just now.
Oh man, they were dying. Like people were not literally, people weren't dying, but it was funny. I don't know why they thought that was the way to go. Like this big giant. Like, is there nothing else to do in Detroit but like send people down a death trap?
I wonder if that was the same one when the woman. On the way down, she hit it a certain way, and then she still didn't stop sliding because she hit. You heard that pole?
Yeah, that was her.
Okay,
that was her. Big giant ass slide. Yep, that was her.
And you heard that dong at the end. You be like, "Damn!" Not only did you fuck your back up, but it sounded like you hit your head on that pole.
Sound like a college baseball game. Every time I watch the video, it just sounded like a college baseball game. It's just like people just hitting it, man. It just didn't make no sense. There was something else. Duh. NFL's back tomorrow night, people.
Yes. Don't judge me, Tiana. She's saying, wow, don't judge me.
Yeah. I think it was the dog.
Okay.
Flip. When he flopped. He was
flip flop.
Yeah. Speaking of animals, there was a wild wolf in Cleveland that just got loose. Out here running the streets of East 99. In Kinsman. I think he went
there's
down to
nothing
Jack.
like watching a family sit back and the father is with his wife and two or three kids. I can't remember. I think it was two because one was in the stroller, and he's talking to the older kid, but the older kid's like a little kid. He was saying it was so cool. It was just watching because it was just trotting about. And I'm like, this is typical of you, isn't it?
RC, it was good, man.
What's going on, RZ? To watch them think that was the typical reaction.
What? You know what? Never mind. I don't even know. I know.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's like I'm just like
because black people's not about to sit here and watch no goddamn wolf.
No,
they think that shit's cool. But we don't fuck with dogs. If a dog get too gritty in the teeth, a motherfucker gonna run. And it can be our dog. That motherfucker get to. They got him out. I'm not about to watch no goddamn wolf. Who watches wolves? I didn't even watch Dances with Wolves. I don't want to see that motherfucker so live in living color and not behind bars.
Right.
Nah.
Just walking free. Like
look, little Johnny. There's a wolf. Legend has it he eats kids. You go out there and see him. See if you can pet him.
Isn't
pet
that
him,
cool?
Johnny.
No, it's not cool. You ever seen a wolf in person behind the cage?
No.
Joints is huge.
I haven't. I've never seen a lion up close. I mean, a wolf up close.
They're huge.
I'm good.
Think of your standard dog and triple its size.
Exactly. That's why I'm good. I'm not about to go. The fuck.
And it's you know, I don't care. It's not domesticated. I don't care. You put something behind bars long enough, instincts do kick in.
Just ask. Never mind. I was. Good night. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's no reason why. That's like people who try to get these things as pets. Like, I'm gonna give me a pet wolf. I'm gonna go to the store. Who was out here just selling lions like that or wolves just?
Oh, you remember
on
that
the open market?
You remember that back in Akron? About the dude that actually had the lions and the tigers on his land. Like he actually had a lion and I seen one up close because I was pumping gas and he had a 5-year-old tiger in a big old cage. I didn't see it right away because he was already parked and it was out of my view. Yo.
I have so many questions on why, especially in Akron.
When you hear when you, and I know the people listening or they're watching, but when you hear the name, when you hear the words 5-year-old tiger, we're not talking cub. We're not talking like a baby. That's just the age. This fucker was big.
Of
And it's
course.
not even full grown. And I'm like, the head on this thing was massive.
Got a head like Barry Bonds. Like, I just, that's what I'm saying. Like, people who do goofy shit, and then they be like, that's like the dude who had a tiger in his house, and the motherfucker attacked him. He was like, I don't know why Scruffy attacked me. You know,
Tiger.
because it's a fucking tiger. That's what they do. Sooner or later, them motherfuckers is gonna bite your ass. Like, ask Roy from Siegfried and Roy. Ask Roy how long that tiger was gonna take him whipping his ass with that leash before that motherfucker got tired of it. Like, ask the motherfucker.
You know what? I seen what you did. You're not about to get me that way. That's exactly how that tiger.
You got a tiger in your backyard and you feeding this nigga Fancy Cat and you expect him not to get pissed? Not to take a swipe at your ass?
All it takes. That's all it takes. Let it be the day you don't have enough raw chicken. Let that be we short a couple chickens, my guy, and you looking mighty. No.
It behooves me. Like, I'm behooved by the fact. I don't even know if I'm using that word right in the sentence.
You said it right. You said it right. You used it right.
It just feels like that's stupid. That's like people who buy animals. It's like motherfuckers who had.
Mind you, when you say that, you gotta say it behooves me. You gotta hit.
My shoulders don't bounce like
that. Yeah, you gotta.
It's an off day. Because here's what I can picture. I can picture a dumb motherfucker with a dinosaur as a pet. Like, if we had the capability, this is a motherfucker in his backyard with a bunch of velociraptors and T-Rexes and shit, feeding these niggas baby chickens and talking about, I don't know why he ate my wife. Like, the nigga was hungry. That's what they do.
It's like, man, your wife looking mighty meaty over there, and you feeding.
You shouldn't have got your wife that BBL. That was the problem. Your wife was out there looking like hey-ho, and they got hungry. He literally ate her ass. Literally. Real quick, for those who are watching, wherever you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, because YouTube tells us I got to say that if I want to do stuff. So it's not me, it's YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Also, before our guest gets in, next week we're doing Jeopardy, another episode of WTS Jeopardy, and
oh boy,
I'm writing the questions.
Now, for those who are listening, let me tell you something. If you have never seen a WTS game show,
it's fun.
You went for a wild ride, baby. You went for. Do not think you're going to know. You might, out of what is, we'll just say 20, 30 questions. We'll just
there is
5, 10, 15, 4, 5, 20, 25, maybe 25, 30.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 30.
Okay.
5 each category. So I will give y'all the categories. I got sports.
Wait, before you, disclaimer. He's going to give you the categories. Don't think you're going to know the actual answer.
This is me writing it. I'm actually doing the questions myself. I'm actually working on the board as we speak. Let me see if I can show y'all. It's working. It's in the works. I'm not playing. So
you might get one that you like, nailed it, got that. Like the one last week. What was that? Townsend, yeah.
Oh, it's on the board. You didn't let me finish. See, so there's sports,
Townsend's on the board,
pop culture, music, Townsend, black sayings.
Ooh, wait, sayings or sayings?
Yes, sayings.
Okay,
but I left the G off because I wanted it to be weird. And
okay,
then
yeah, when you said sayings, and I'm like, what? Like,
so these are things that you've heard growing up black.
Yeah.
So,
your black card may get revoked after this one.
And then there's actually going to be a final. Oh, can I do that?
You should be able to.
I can do a final Jeopardy. Okay. Yeah. There's a final. There's going to be one round in a final Jeopardy question. Can't wait. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, man, because I don't know why, but the game shows have been fun.
See, it's the way they set up, because they're not your typical. It's not your typical run on a game. Like last week was all over the place because it was dated. We found that out like what, halfway through.
Yeah.
Like, so there was no way, like from there it just went straight downhill, because it was like, yo, it was like, it was a music question.
It was the number one album. It was like Eminem from like 1942. But no, it's gonna be fun. I'm doing the questions myself, so I'm gonna be working on those. Thinking about, do I want to handpick contestants, or do I want to let people apply? Because last week I let people apply and it got weird, crazy, because I tried to do Battle of the Sexes and it was just
Awkward.
no. It's hard when you don't know the people you're working with.
Go to the pool. Go to the pool. I'd say handpick. Go to the pool. See.
So this week I'm gonna do 3 contestants. We're gonna do an official Jeopardy. I don't know if I can. There is music in the game. They have the real Jeopardy thing in there, but I don't know if I can do it. But our guest is here. So let me put it to you like this. Our guest might be. Can I say this, Chris? I'm gonna say it.
Shit. We say whatever we want.
No, because I don't want nobody to feel bad. But
what the shit? This is what we do. We don't do it on purpose. It's just.
But she has done more in the last 5 minutes than I've done in my whole life. I'm probably gonna say that now. So she's an expert coach. She has over 100 media appearances. 100. I got 2. This show and your show. And then a few B shows I do every now and then. Over 10,000 plus coaching hours. She is the real deal in motivation. She's done a TEDx talk. I've never even
that's official.
Been smart enough to hear one and pay attention and know what's going on. She's ran 5 marathons. I've run 0. She's actually a Pilates instructor and an award-winning screenwriter. Without further ado, our guest tonight, I bring to you Miss Kimberly Spencer.
Hi, guys.
How's it going? I don't know whether to congratulate you on
Oxygen,
so much.
CNBC, CW, Netflix, NPR, TEDx. Those are just a few of the places you've been or have work on.
Yep.
How? Like, why would you want to do so much and make us look bad when you come on here? I thought we were friends. I thought we were cool. Oh, no, you have done so much.
And I feel like I'm just getting started.
I was afraid
I would have said
that. I was afraid you were going to say that. I was like, please just don't let her say she's not finished and she's just getting started. Crown yourself CEO, owner. Talk about what Crown Yourself is.
Crown Yourself is a way of taking ownership for every little piece of your life. It is a way of taking back our own personal sovereignty from the belief systems that have enslaved us to thinking that we're a victim of our circumstances. And I believe, and I've achieved a lot, and I've had some adversity in my past. And I used to believe that adversity defined me, that adversity would make me feel like I was broken, damaged, and a victim. And so I lived that way for years. And I was always at the effect, always a victim of my circumstances. And eventually I realized that I had to start taking ownership and taking responsibility for my own life. And it was through that shift and through that transition of thinking that I crowned myself. I freed myself from a 10-year battle with bulimia with no psychological or medical intervention. I got out of some incredibly abusive relationships, and I was able to grow an e-commerce company and then realize that there was a values mismatch between me and my business partner, and got out of that relationship. And it was through the process of seeing these same devils of behavior of how I used to think, of not being enough, not being worthy, not being, believing that I was a victim, that I was broken and damaged. It was those ways of thinking that put me into and allowed me to accept circumstances that are far less than what I believe that I deserve now. But back then I believed that I deserved them because that was what I was familiar with. That was what I was used to. And so Crown Yourself is a way of stripping yourself of the conditioning and the plagiarized programming of your past to take full ownership. And it's not a sexy conversation sometimes, because sometimes you got to really own your
you can say it. I'll say it for you. You got to own your shit, people. You got to be accountable for what you've done.
Shit. Sometimes you got to own it, and once you do, that's where freedom is.
You said something that I kind of felt, because sometimes we don't realize the mismatch of alignment of thinking and operating. When we try to do things with people, because there's some people I've tried to do business with, and I just looked and I was like, we're not aligned. This is not going to work. How do you, one, realize that, and two, get past that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by getting past that. Because like I thought I realized it, because when my business partner and I first decided to go into business together. Originally, I was brought on as a consultant for the product. I saw the product and I was like, I don't just want to be a consultant. I want to be a partner, because I was always a go-getter when it came to my career. I may have had self-doubts about my body, or, chosen some poor people in relationships. But when it came to my career and what I wanted, I was freaking unstoppable. And that's what led me to get a screenplay produced and distributed on Netflix. That's what led me to, run multiple marathons. Can you
say the name of that so people can?
It's called Bro. It stars Danny Trejo, and it's about the high-flying, hard-partying world of freestyle motocross and a young kid who gets caught up with the cool crowd. No, I have not. I do not have a background in motocross. I had to research on YouTube for that. but I do know, as we all know, the familiar story of wanting to fit in with the cool crowd and of wanting to belong, and what that really means. And so for me, when it came to my relationship with my business partner, we sat down and we had a conversation, and we're like, let's get to know each other. Let's share our shit. And he shared some things that initially arose that, little bit of an orange flag of intuition of just like,
Made you, okay. Yeah. Things to make
and
you
I was like, but in the true woman's way, I can fix that.
Yeah.
I can work around that. Here, but I can make it work. Sure, there's that, little insecurity or issue, but yeah. So I didn't listen to my own intuition when my intuition was like, maybe you should pay attention to that thing that's come up in all your past relationships that didn't end well. But because our conscious minds sometimes like to think that the form means that it's going to turn out different. So because it wasn't a romantic relationship, I saw the same cues that I saw in my past romantic relationships. But because it wasn't a romantic relationship, it was a business relationship, I thought I could ignore those same cues that came up. But I had to realize that your business is not a place for little egos. And it is not a place for you to necessarily hire people who don't value themselves or work with people who don't value themselves.
Right.
Because that will be reflected in the level of work and in what they do in their work and how they show up.
You are amazing.
Thank you. As are you.
No.
Yes, you are.
You have to say that because you're a guest.
I truly don't say that because I'm a guest. Because I say that because perception is projection.
True.
So if I thought that you were anything less than amazing, then I would be disparaging also on myself.
Well, see, he feels that way. I'm dope. I don't care what they say. I'm dope.
See, I have this self-deprecating quality that makes me humble yet cute. It's like a puppy dog. They poop on your carpet, but they give you the eyes, so you be like, damn it, just go poop somewhere else. 3 times you've won 6-figure business owner awards. Like I said, 5 marathons, 6 times
marathons actually
health.
now.
6?
It's yeah.
You ran one before I. Oh my God! How did you run one in the time of me talk? Okay. 6-time Health Activist Award nominee. Miss Congeniality. You a screenwriter, and you have something on Netflix with Danny Trejo. Where do you find time to just be not so spectacular like the rest of us? And just-
Where do I find time to be like an average human? Or the fact that, like, I'm not sure of the question, because for me, all of those achievements took a decade. So one of my favorite quotes is by Tony Robbins, and he says, most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year, but underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. And if I look back on the past decade, I've had 2 children. I've done all the stuff that's in my bio, but it took 10 years. And so some people, when we see that or we hear that, like, this awesome feat of stuff, of achievements, we think, oh my gosh, I need to do all that in 1 year. No, I mean, it took 3 years for my film to even get out and distributed. We wrote that and shot that back in 2009. And there were like 3 years of like, is post-production done yet? Are we done? And it wasn't until 2012 that it came out. And then when it came out, that was right when I also got the opportunity to jump in on the e-commerce company. And then that was also right when I met the man who would be my husband. But like, it was a really transformative year. 2012 was very good. And the past decade, like, those achievements were all done actually in longer than a decade, probably in about 15 years, because 2009 was 13 years ago now.
Well, I asked that because I wanted kind of that was the answer I was hoping you gave, because some people, we live in a now more than ever a microwave society where, like you said, people see somebody has done X, Y, Z in this long laundry list of stuff, and it's like, oh well, now I gotta do that. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And people don't realize, like you said, it took 10 years.
There's a climb that comes
like
with
it's
that.
not
there's
overnight.
A grind that comes with that. You know, there's a hustle and there's pitfalls that come with all those accolades, and that's the stuff that people don't seem to recognize or even see. They just see the triumphs. They're like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that. I'm like, I want to be on TED Talk. Like, yeah, but look at what you've gotten rejected from to get to that TED Talk.
It took me 3 years to get a TED Talk. I set that in my timeline and in my intentions and was very clear. And I had a Google Drive of folders of the multiple different topics that I was going to speak on. I was supposed to have one in 2020. Then that didn't happen. And then 2021, we just happened to be in Australia and living over there for the past 2 years during the pandemic because we couldn't fly out. And we were over there, and I thought, well, being over here, I'm actually kind of like in a more unique position because I'm the American living abroad who got stuck over in Australia during the pandemic. So I started reaching out, and where we were in Australia, it was very open because nobody was flying in or out and there were no cases. So there was still life happening like as normal. And I just looked up like a few places and I was like, I'm just curious. I just got curious and I followed that intuition. But it was months until I heard from anyone. And then it was months until I met with the people, the organizers who were hosting it. And then but because I'd done now over 150 podcast interviews, I'd practiced the speech, the work that I was going to share on a TED Talk. I was very comfortable with speaking, so it wasn't like I was super green just coming out of the doors like, oh, here's your TED Talk. Like, what's that quote where preparation, like luck is when preparation meets.
That was when it's hard
opportunity.
Work beats talent when talent beats hard work or something. I know what
something
you're
like
talking
that.
about.
You know what I'm
There's
saying?
a few of them, yes.
It was because like I wouldn't have felt ready to do that like I literally signed the agreement to do the TED Talk 3 weeks before I was supposed to give it. And I had to write it, practice it, rehearse it, like do the whole process of that. And that my TED Talk's called Becoming a Warrior for Possibility. And it's about, it parallels the decision-making journey of making decisions through uncomfortable times that also paralleled the experience of living abroad in Australia, losing my father while I was abroad, not being able to go home and making that choice and decision, and also being pregnant at the time. And like, what decisions how do you continue to make decisions through tough times? And how do you continue to focus on possibility? And it, like, most of my TED Talk, I wrote as like posts as I was in the process of processing my dad dying. And that I was able, because I'd had such a backlog of content and I'd been producing content for the past 6 years with my company, I was able to just pull these pieces and then just put them together into one cohesive talk. So yes, I had 3 weeks, and I'd also been preparing for it for the past, 4 or 5 years.
See, your life and the trajectory that it's on, in the attitude that you're portraying, it gives me that feeling of never be comfortable in that comfort zone. Just, you always, just when you're feeling comfortable, a lot of people stay in that zone because it's like, I'm safe, I feel safe, but then you always want something, but you never go out to go after that something, whatever it is. And so years go by, and then you haven't accomplished anything. You're like, oh, what happened? And this, that, and the other. And what you've done is broken that bond, I guess you could say. You've broken that chain to say, hey, I'm not going to let this particular situation hold me down. I'm not going to let this particular situation stop me from achieving the next goal. So I like that about you.
Thank you, Chris.
And she probably just ran a 7th marathon as I did that.
Probably.
I just went out back.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say that see, I am human. I can lose my thoughts. It's here. It'll come.
I think I lost mine. No, Australia. Fact or fiction? They have some of the wildest, weirdest creatures there. Because I've seen some videos of some things out in Australia. I'd be like, you know what? If I catch that in my house, I'm burning it down. I'm taking everybody.
We're not talking about the creature. We're talking about the entire house.
You and my husband have the same mentality on that one, with can we set it on fire? Like, this needs to be set on. We were in the playground in Australia in Brisbane, and my son, he's like 3 at the time, and he was like crawling under this little eggplant, and my husband's like looking in, and suddenly he just gets his intuitive hit to look up. And there's a spider as big as his hands, a giant huntsman hanging there. And he's like, okay, let's just get him out.
Let's back this up. We gotta go.
Back it up.
I ain't packing up nothing.
Yeah, fire.
The wife and the dogs, and I'm setting
get
fire
the gasoline.
You seen the Dell videos?
No, the gasoline. I need the can.
They'd be like, what happened? I was like, a big dumbass spider was in the house. You couldn't kill it? I said, nope. It was like a predator alien thing, and I was cool. I'm not doing that. They got a moth that flies. It was like a spider or something that could fly. It was like a moth with a spider with wings. I was like, who thought of this? Like, who was in the science room and was just like, you know what? We need a big ass hand spider. Just, I don't know why, but just build one.
Sounds like something we can do right now.
My midwife told me, she was like, oh yeah, I saved my cat from the snake. And I was like, what do you mean you have to do that here in Australia? She said, yeah, I just, this giant snake got my cat. I was like, where do you live?
Bye, Mittens.
Like, just, the suburbs. I've never my American life had to rescue my cat from a giant snake.
Kimberly, let me tell you something. She lived in the suburbs and there was a giant ass anaconda eating her cat. You know what I would have did? Bought a new cat.
Sorry, Tuffy.
If you got to fight snakes, big spiders, flying moth rats, giant wombats, anything
Let's put it
bigger
this
than a
way.
cat and a dog.
If you live in Australia and you can encounter all of that, then you can probably encounter the zombie apocalypse with no problem. That's just
And
what
it
it
was
is.
funny because I was like, that was who we were hanging with, because my husband's a voice actor, so we were hanging out with the cast of The Walking Dead at the convention as
Look
the
at that, look at
pandemic was
that.
breaking out. And I was like, this is ironic. This is just, the
Yeah.
universe has a really cool sense of humor.
Somebody does.
Yeah, I don't find it funny. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, that is
It's
scary. Like
they're sitting up there in the heavens. It's just like, wait till you get a load of this.
like that scares me. Evolution scares me because if there's a spider as big as your hand, let's say, since we'll take your life model. 10 years from now, it's gonna be the size of a dog, just big spider dog just walking around, nodding at you, and just
Like it's
just-
normal.
like it's normal, like just.
It's probably walking the
Um,
snake that might eat the cat next time. Who knows?
Exactly. Just wait. It's gonna be your neighbor. Just gonna be like, can I have a cup of sugar? I'm just gonna, fry my friend the fly over here.
Like, oh no, you just put it through the door. I know how you can get sometimes. It's
I'm
okay.
cool. Yeah. Because
You might want to take it like 10 feet back.
my last Australia question, and then I have some. We'll get back to business. Every now and then I like to break away because it's what the shit. We ask crazy questions sometimes. How close were the houses? Was it like a normal? Everybody's close together.
Well, we lived in the Gold Coast, which is in Surfers Paradise, which is like high rises. It's like Miami. We lived right on the beach. So we didn't encounter, like, we saw like big spiders, but we weren't in the suburbs. There wasn't a ton of greenery around us.
Oh, okay.
There
safe.
was a lot
That's
of
safe.
ocean. There was a ton of jellyfish, by the way, on the beach. Like,
Yep,
my
not going
son
to the beach.
was a very big fan of like stomping on them, like,
Oh
because
my
they were
God.
like squishy, like stomping on the jellyfish carcasses.
Brave kid. Gotta tell you.
So they just litter, like dead jellyfish littering the beach. Okay. So Chris, no, we're not going to the suburbs of Australia ever. And we're not going to the beach of Australia ever. So I don't know what that leaves.
Like we're stuck. There's no in between. There's no middle
Is there
ground.
in between? Like
Yep.
either you're on the beach with jellyfishes or in the suburbs with giant cat eating.
Oh, and the
snakes
shark attacks were insane while we were over there. Like, they had a
Oh, this-
history record of like shark attacks. And I was like, that's why I'm not going surfing. People are like, oh, I love a surf. And I was like, I won't invade like, you guys have great whites. And yeah, you have your cute little shark nets that don't really work, but like, you make you feel better. Like,
the nets
No.
never work. All right.
See,
Yeah.
here's my problem. If you set a record at something, that's cool. But if you set a record at shark attacks, that's not cool. I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to be toting that on the tourist brochure. Did they have a tourist brochure? If not, I want to write one for them because it's going to say giant snake eating cat.
Oh yeah. Well, there's an Aussie saying. It's like, everything will kill you. Oh yeah, it'll kill you. Oh yeah. And then there's also the Aussie saying of, should be right. Like, should be right. Let's see. Basically, like, let's see what happens. Live and let live. Should be right.
Neither one of those sayings. Neither. Let me tell you right now. Neither one of those instill any confidence in me of being in Australia. If I hear dudes like, "Oh, it's a shark attack," you'll be all right. Let's see what happens. No. Let's not see what happens. Let's go somewhere where it doesn't happen.
I can literally
and
see
what
myself
happens.
getting off the airplane and walking through the airport,
See,
and
Chris?
that's the first thing I see, and I'm like, you know what?
See,
We're gonna
Chris,
turn
no.
around.
See, that's the problem. I already know. I can't see myself getting on the airplane to go now.
Oh,
don't
it's
care.
beautiful there. I mean, they do have, in alignment with your podcast, they have the shitbox rally where you basically, my husband was going to do it, but I think it was closed because of the pandemic. But you basically take $1,000 shit car and then drive that across the Australian outback in the middle of the desert with wine in the trunk.
Pack your bags, we're going to Australia.
So it's very much like a Mad Max thing. He was going to do it with one of our friends over there. And I said,
Oh
okay,
my
like
God.
maybe not this year, but maybe in like next year in a couple years when we go back, like he's totally doing that. But
I'm gonna
He's
get
like,
through it.
I want to live
Yeah.
my Mad Max dream. Please.
it really is the Mad Max dream of every man.
I got told no, never mind.
Tiana's already saying it. Like,
He said,
nope.
no.
No,
Not
my wife
going.
said no, fellas. We're not going to Australia. Maybe we can do one here. We'll look into it. So back to business. Giving a TED Talk. Now, did you do it? Was it virtual or were you?
It was live in front of an audience. We were like this close to getting locked down. Like it was this. They were this close to having a snap lockdown. Because in Australia, what they did was they had what was called snap lockdowns, which is where suddenly they wouldn't give you 24 hours. They would give you like 24 hours notice to get across the border to get back to your home state, or you'd be locked out of your state. And they would lock everything down suddenly. It was, yeah, they did, I think 2 or 3 of those. And it came very close to one. But we were fortunate that the powers that be chose to leave things open. And I mean, because they were locking down. They were doing snap lockdowns for 9 cases. 9, not 900.
They shut,
9.
like that's a shutdown.
wasn't
Like
playing.
they're just like zombies
Like,
are coming.
Johnny Sneeze wrong. Lock
Shut
this
this
shit
all
down.
down.
Let's go. Lock it down. Johnny Sneeze wrong. Lock this shit down. Let's go today.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't.
They'll survive the zombie apocalypse. Definitely. They snap lockdowns and everything. Yeah, they got this.
Ooh, yeah, they weren't playing. They were not playing in
They
Australia.
might be too prepared.
And
I feel like they know something. Sorry, I'm conspiracy. I feel like they can't. I feel like they just practicing now. Like, how fast can we lock shit down before something happens? And now they just doing fire drills with it. It's like, okay, 5 seconds. Nope. Let's do it again. Run it again. So
Run it
if
again.
the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm going to Australia.
Run it again.
I'm going to Australia because I think they know
We got
something
it in
we don't know.
3.5 the last time. I need it below. Below.
Yeah, we practicing to do TikToks and they practicing zombie apocalypse. I see. I hate America. I hate us because we do the goofiest. We are never prepared for nothing. Okay, I digress. I'm sorry. I feel like
Spiders, cats eating snakes.
like they
shark
over there
attacks,
going through
jellyfish.
like every evolutionary character. Like with the most.
and here we've just gotten complacent.
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to just do a fire drill for no reason, just because. Like we just need to start doing fire drills. Just
Speaking of which, they do that. Like that was a regular thing in our building. Like
They are way
people would pull the
prepared.
fire alarm, which was terrified my children, of course, but like that was the thing. So when you say fire drill, I'm like, yeah, they did that too. Like
tell you,
actual fire drill.
Australia's on something. They're gonna be too prepared.
They got it locked in.
Either that
it
or they've
locked
got
in.
like hardwire, like amygdala fight, flight, freeze kicking in.
Yeah.
Just like
Hit a
all
button,
right.
all these weapons fall out the daggone roof. And
That's
way
what scares
prepared.
me. Like,
Way
yeah.
I mean, the
prepared.
fire alarms themselves inside our building was like, evacuate now, and I was like, yeah, it was.
This is like
It
Raccoon
was
City
a
over
full
there.
speaker system. There was a fire in this building. Evacuate now, and it was loud, and it would go off, and yeah. So they've got their emergency lockdown system pretty spot on.
And here we just got some dude that's standing on the box and be like, hey, y'all might want to get up out of here. Move it along.
Maybe
move it or
you
lose
might
it,
want
buddy.
to consider. Don't want to ruffle any feathers, so
Yeah, that's always the line. We don't
Yeah.
want to cause a panic. I'm sorry, what?
This line goes to safety.
Because-
This line goes to a place.
Yep.
Pick a line, please. Just
Pick a
orderly
line. Yeah, pick a
fashion.
line.
That's crazy. Australia's dope. Besides the crazy killer creatures, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. I have a question.
yes.
If I say rule with radical ownership, what does that mean to you?
That means taking 100% responsibility for your life and banishing blame out of your consciousness.
Mm.
so often it's very easy, and our society loves to point that blame finger. And like I tell my 5-year-old, you got 3, 4, if we include the thumb, it's 4
Yeah.
pointing back at you, but sometimes the thumb's not considered a finger. But
Semantics.
Right. Tomato, tomato.
but the that ability to take complete personal responsibility, which does not mean also that you blame yourself. It's banishing blame from blaming others, blaming yourself. So, like I was telling one of my clients, he was beating himself up after being divorced for 8 years, and his wife was still making choices blaming him. His ex-wife was still making choices blaming him, and he was like, it's my fault, she's still in the position that she is. And I was like, okay, did you do everything that you could to support her? Are you paying your spousal support? Yes. Asked him a litany of questions. I said, so eventually you're going to have to allow her to take the responsibility for the past, we're going to say 7.5 years that you haven't been a part of her life since the divorce papers were signed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And
Can't argue
like,
with that
you're
logic.
doing your part. She's like, you can blame yourself, but you're not allowed, like, taking ruling with radical ownership is where you take 100% of your responsibility. You're not taking 10 or 20% like my high achievers like to do and take 20% or 30% of other people's responsibility. No, you have your clear boundary as to where your responsibility begins and where also your responsibility ends. And in that sphere of influence of your own responsibility, you take 100% responsibility for that and not point the finger at, oh, it was this, or oh, it's this, oh, it's this reason. Because it's very easy for us to point that finger of blame and point it outward and play the victim. And I get a lot of flack on this for certain circumstances, but I guarantee for many things, there's still a space. Like I say that, yes, certain things can happen to you, 100%. Certain things that are wrong, that are immoral, that should never have happened to you, especially if you've had experienced childhood abuse like I did. And you are 100% responsible for your healing. Like, I had to realize when I was younger that my 10-year battle with bulimia that I blamed my dad to hell and back for, the only thing that allowed me to heal was for me to stop blaming him and realize that it was never him shoving my finger down my throat. That was me. That was my choice. And yes, while the patterns, behaviors, actions I learned from his addictive behavior, yes. And it's also my responsibility to unlearn, to choose new belief systems, new patterns, new habits, new modus operandi in order to start getting new results.
Fair. Solid. I can't see anything wrong with that logic because that just makes perfect sense.
I got nothing.
Yeah, so like you do see that a lot when you think about certain mistakes that you've made or whatever. I that radical rule, I can see that being used, and you can't, when you're given a work project, you have 5 people. You're responsible for your section of that work project. You can't make everybody responsible for what they do. Project fails, we know why. However, you've done the part you were supposed to do. You can't take on the 10% of this person and the 20% of this person, because now you're overwhelming yourself. And now that weight the weight you're already dealing with your own, now you're dealing with everybody else's weight. The blame game starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I missed this. You might be the greatest entrepreneur I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Because at the age of 5, you were selling black bags of glitter water to your neighbors.
I was, and I was split testing price points too. I was selling them for 5 cents or $50. So I was testing what price the market would bear.
At 5.
Not a bad
Yeah,
move.
no one bought it for $50.
But
The key is to buy a pack of now and laters for 15 cents and sell it for 25.
But
Exactly,
the age of
Chris.
5, you was doing price points. At the age of 5, most people was eating crayons
I'm
and
glad I
chalk.
wasn't one of those kids.
Like just eating chalk and pooping themselves. And you out here selling. I would hope not,
I
but
have
still,
a 5-year-old and he hasn't pooped himself in a while. So
I
I'm
dealt
like,
with some special.
"Excuse me."
Probably
I
doesn't
grew
eat
up around
chalk
some
either,
special
so that's a good
5-year-olds.
sign.
They were special with my school when they were 5. But no, I mean that is a testament of where you're at, because at the age of 5, nobody's really thinking about selling things. At least not doing price points.
Well,
Or,
I mean,
you know,
I as much as I could, or let me frame this. In the movie I Am Not Your Guru, Tony Robbins says, if you're going to blame someone for all the bad, you also have to blame them for all the good. And my question is, do you want to give them that credit? So, like, even though I struggled with some challenges with my parents, with my dad's addiction growing up, I also saw my parents, even despite my dad's addiction, build a multi-million-dollar company. So my mom was pushing me around in the stroller at 2 years old, hustling, passing out flyers for their business. So I learned through behavior at an early age that there's a certain tenacity required to go forth. And I do believe, because I see my kids too, and I don't think it's just because my husband and I are entrepreneurial. I do believe that kids are naturally entrepreneurial, and that our education system and the way that it's currently is can take that creativity away from them.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Oh God, yes. It, it's a weird subject because we've all been through the school system. Some are better than others at preparing us for life. But I need to shout out my math teacher, Miss Molly Anado, for teaching me algebra, some shit I will never use in my life, because X times the power of 5 with the little X symbol on it. I've never seen that in life. Never. Outside of
Never.
school. I've never been in a store and be like, oh shoot, what's the square root of this? Jesus Christ.
I
dang
had
it.
6 fruit cups.
Yeah,
Now
Johnny
I
had
need
6 fruits. Like
12.
I feel like they need to reevaluate the curriculum.
You don't get the grocery list that says from the wife, get fruit cups to the second power. You just get some
Yeah.
fruit cups.
Get 3 fruit cups and shut the hell up. But it just
It's powerful fruit cups.
Right.
power. But it does mess people up.
Well, because I think
I-
we're taught what to think, not really how to think. And I think
That
if we
too.
were inspired if we were taught more logic, how people think, how we make decisions, how to lead. Leadership is not something that's taught, and most adults that I know don't consider themselves to be leaders. And I'm like, if you are the parent of children, you are a leader. They're following
Yes.
what you do, not what you say. Guaranteed. And
yeah,
so they're role modeling what it is that you do. But the same is true if you're running a company. The same is true if you have team. The same is true if you're in any position of leadership. But leadership is only, you only learn it through experience. You don't learn
Yes.
it through a book. You can read about it in a book, but it'll give you some nice tips and tricks and strategies, but you have to apply it in order to truly learn what leadership is.
And I think that's another problem with especially now. My grandfather, he used to have a saying, I don't know where he learned this, but it's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody wants to lead, but don't know how to follow. And then I found out some of the best leaders, like you said, don't lead. They just do the work. If you have to beat on your chest and say, I'm a leader, you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you lead by example. I've learned that, like you said, you learn that through experience, coaching and all that. So I know how to lead. I just choose not to. It's just because I just do the work. But you also wrote a book. Like there's so much I'm leaving out because you've done so much. Like I'm all over the place with you. You've done a lot.
Yeah.
You've if I had half your career, I would retire. I'll just be like, you know what? I'm good. This is
I get so bored. Like I would. I realized I was like, yes, there's a balance. I need to have a vacation. And if it was like a retirement vacation, I think I'd just get bored. Like I am having conversations now with my mom who's, in her early, almost mid 70s, and she's still working. She's still hustling. And I'm like, Mom, I like even if she does retire, she still wants to have purpose. And I think that
Yes.
that's a huge piece, especially when you look at the numbers of retirement. Like I really want to have purpose and connection and community around me. So and I don't think that that's for everyone, but I do think, like, for me, I know I would get bored if I just, was gifted of like, here's your beach. Here all you get to do is sit and think and read some
Yeah,
books and maybe
I
watch
think I
some
would.
TV. I would be bored.
I think I'm there. I've seen people who retire, and you just like my grandmother. She was a nurse for forever. Went gambling. She's been to every casino in the U.S. Vegas, Atlantic City, West Virginia, all of them. As soon as she retired, health decline. Just a lot of things happened. So I think working kept her more alive than being retired.
I see that a
So
lot.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I don't think I want to retire because it just don't feel right.
Not,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to retire in terms in what they consider retirement. I would always
Agree.
want to be doing something. Working for myself is always the ultimate goal. So I want to be doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
And
I just look at this list and I'm uber impressed. Like when we
thank
true
you.
story. Okay, so Kimberly was a long time coming. We were supposed to actually do this in July, but she's so busy and some things happened. We pushed it to now. But I'm so glad we did, because every time I read this, I was like, I'm not prepared to talk to someone with this kind of rap sheet. Like you've done a lot, and it's just impressive. Like if I can, and I think I'm gonna post this if I can. Like you are proof that you've made your own mode. You wrote a script about BMX racing. Never done it, have you? No.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
But you've done it
It was literally in
successfully.
the fourth draft that my director and co-writing partner said, "Do you know anything about motocross?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I know what it is." And he's like, "Well, Metal Militia said they would come on board with like funding for the branding if we can just add in motocross." And I was like, "I have YouTube."
Yeah.
I have like
Best thing going.
sure I can research. And so I did a decent amount of research on it and was able, like, it's I'm really proud of it. And it was like a really niche film, but it just so happened to save 2 people's lives. So, and that's what I'm in the business of doing. I'm in the business of transforming people's stories of what's possible, whether that's in coaching or Pilates or e-commerce. Like, I've always been in the business of transforming people's stories.
I like that. I haven't disliked one thing this woman has said tonight.
It's hard to. It's
because
hard to.
she's accomplished. We know that already, and she just ran her 8th marathon as we were talking.
That's
So-
in
By the time
January
you
in
get
Disney
done.
World.
so she's accomplished. The fact that you can basically pull yourself out of the negative zone, which it's a hard feat for a lot of people,
It is.
and to see that you know where you came from, you know what you've dealt with. Now you can move on from that and say, that's a mistake I won't make because it's going to lead to X, Y, Z. I need to make another move that's going to get me to this point. And that's what a lot of people can't do. They can't see past that. They can't see past the disappointment. They can't see past the failure. They can't see past their being upset or whatever the case it is. They can't see past that negative goal line. And that's all they know. They was like, I lost the race. No, you just stopped running.
Yeah. Yeah. You just stopped. And I think that's it. That's probably why I like running marathons so much, even though like the last one I ran sucked. Like sucked. I was that one was such a lesson in pride and ego, because prior to that I'd run 4 or 5, and the last one I was like, oh, I've run 4 or 5, but that was before having a child. And so learning that it's practice, it's commitment, it's being responsible, it's making the, for lack of a better word, sacrifices, because it's, which I like to define sacrifices as not, you're not sacrificing something good for, like, you're sacrificing something good for something great. But you're also like, so many people have this negative connotation of what sacrifice means, of like, oh, I'm going to have to give up on all the things that I love, on all the things that I want, never going to be able to spend time with my kids, all that. And I am not about that. Sacrifice for me is simply a definition of what a boundary is. It's like, I'm no longer willing to put up with this, and I'm willing to sacrifice 30 minutes of TV to go for a 20-minute run, because I know that that's going to be better for me in the long run. And it's learning what the boundary lines is of what you will and will not tolerate. Because in life, we get what we tolerate. So if we're accustomed, if we're sending a message out to the universe that we say we want this, but we'll settle for this. Like, we say we want to run a marathon, but we'll settle for not finishing. And I've always had a mantra ever since my first marathon in 2011 that was like, run, walk, or crawl. I'm crossing that finish line, period. And so and that was a hard one to keep my commitment to in my last marathon. That was hot. It was a Boston Marathon qualifier, and there I was running like a freaking 13-minute mile, and everyone else is sprinting ahead with their not 8-minute miles. and so I'm like slow and slogging, and there's no crowd, there's no cheering section. There was like, actually it was along the beach in Ventura in California, and there's all these RVs set up where people on a Saturday were sitting outside, lounging by the beach with their beer, and there I am running a freaking marathon, and I'm like, this sucks. And it would be so easy to give up and to just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not, like, why? But there's a little thing inside of you that if you listen, it's gonna say, keep going. This is worth it, because your integrity is worth it. What are your commitments to your self-worth? And when we erode our integrity that we have with ourselves, of what we say we're committed to, by settling for what is a little less than what we're committed to, then that's how we erode our self-worth. And I'm just not available for that.
You have the boundaries. Set the boundaries.
Truly,
there is a mantra that I pronounce to myself every day about taking every opportunity, like great, like no.
Oh, that's my mantra. Sorry.
Yeah. I always say to myself, great opportunities are coming my way. I'll reach those goals and I'll gain the results, and then I'll take those opportunities. I'll reach the goals. I'll reap the results, and it works because it puts my mind into a positive place. Too many times I see people, oh, how do you start a podcast, or how do you do this, or how do you do that? And I was like, for us, we just did it. We just did it. Like, there was no, like, we just did it. We knew what we wanted to talk about, so we just did it. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect.
You knew. I just wanted to talk shit.
It was like, it wasn't a perfect plan, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to do what we came here to do. Yeah. Perfection is going to come with the consistency.
I'm not looking for perfection, but whatever.
Perfection definitely comes with practice. I mean, have you ever gone back to some of like the great podcasters? Like, I recently went back and listened to Tim Ferriss's first podcast and was like, nowhere near the production quality or eloquency, like, but that man's done like over 800, almost 1,000 episodes, I think.
Oh yeah.
And been freaking consistent. And
that's what it is.
It's having the ability to take your success off that pedestal, because that's where we get stuck in our comfort zone, especially if we've achieved something in a past career or a past industry. So often people put their success of what they've achieved in the past on a pedestal, and then they compare themselves to that like idol, in essence, of what's on that pedestal, and thus that prevents them from ever being a beginner, because they're putting themselves up on that pedestal of like, this is where I am now, looking down on this. But the only place that you can get started on anything new is on the ground floor.
Exactly.
Take
'Cause
the
I feel
first step.
ass backwards into podcasting. Like, but no, what you're saying is true. And I think that the consistency is a must. Because I sometimes rarely go back and listen to our first episode, and I cringe. Oh boy,
I did
do
it recently with
cringe.
mine too. It was oof. Oof.
It was
Light-
shot on like
lighting was
the computer
bad.
film, like a 8mm reel. It was just like bad lighting, and it was bad. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna keep it clean because we have a good gracious, and I don't want to. It was just like a bad set. It was horrible. But I look now and I'm like, okay, we've come a long way. Still got work to do. Still want to continue to do what we do, but we're somewhere, because that first year, a lot of people don't realize in the first year of podcasting, you lose 90% of podcasters in their first year because they give up.
They quit.
And they
Yeah.
quit. It's too hard. Not enough listeners, not enough viewers, whatever the case may be. They get it in their mind that success happens overnight. I'm going to start a podcast tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to be, we're Joe Rogan, Howard Stern. I'm going to be one of the biggest
Microwave
best things out
mindset.
here.
Mhm.
And it's just like, no, it's not going to happen. But you have to, I come with the mindset that I don't care if it's 5 people watching or 5 million people watching, you're still going to get the same consistency of a show. I'm not going to do it any less because I don't think nobody's watching. Because then when people start watching, I'm like, he wasn't doing this before. He be acting brand new. Then he got some new followers. So I want to give everybody the same thing. And I feel like listening to you, I've learned a lot. And I feel like I've been doing something right. Even though I haven't accomplished one iota of half the things, even, there's a laundry list of things you've done. And for that, I first have to say thank you for coming on here.
Give her that applause. You got to give her that applause on that.
I definitely do.
Oh my gosh, I love your sound effects.
Yeah, our production value is up. I learned,
That's another thing we learned.
Seriously.
one thing I've learned in this game is production value. I have a soundboard full of sounds. I got music. I got a thing I play at the beginning, clips I play at the end, because again, the production value has to be consistent.
Like, oh my God, this is terrible.
It's terrible. If I don't, if I don't have consistency, it's terrible. And that's one thing I learned with showmanship. A lot of people, like I said, think you can just turn on the mic and start talking, and that's cool. That's cool. But at the same time, you got to give people substance,
Energy.
energy.
Yeah,
So
something.
I try to be, even though those days where I'm down, I still try to bring my energy up. Because when that red light turn on, again, I want to give people the best. And also it's for our guests, because if I show up and I have someone like you who's accomplished a lot and you've done everything, and I'm just like, yeah, so tell me what you done yesterday. Yeah. How do you, that's cool. So TED Talks, how's that? Yeah, okay. It makes you feel like, why the fuck am I here? If this dude don't care, why am I here? So it's just like, it would be a disrespect to our guests if I came with nothing less than the utmost respect and the best for you as a guest. But I'm so elated.
I'm not gonna lie. I am so impressed with her laundry list plus of accomplishments. It's just amazing to me. So,
it's not the list.
it gives me. I don't want to say energy. It's not energy, but it gives me that. it gives me a build. It's all
But
like, all right.
it's not the list that I'm impressed with. It's her.
Mhm.
I can speak and attest to my father passed away, so I know how hard that is. Because I lost him during COVID. So as you were saying that, I felt it, and it wasn't easy to try to keep going when something like that happens, especially when, like in your case, you couldn't be there. In my case, we had to decide whether we were going to take him off life support or let him be a vegetable. It's hard decisions that you can either fold or keep going. And to me, that's what is a testament to, even with reading all that you've done, it's those things that I've read. Because I didn't read there's an underlying bio that you have that lists of, you spoke on those things, but it wasn't my place to speak on. But at the same time, seeing those things and seeing that you overcame those is the hope that I wanted to be portrayed. Because a lot of people think, like I said, when those things happen, it's easy to give up. And like you said, blame yourself or just have that self-pity and that doubt, and you're just stuck in the same place. And 10 years pass and you've not run race. So it's easy to get caught up in that. So for that is why I am impressed and proud to have you on. Because you are an achiever, a testament to, like I say, getting knocked down, but you get back up and you keep running the race. I always feel like people need to hear those stories, and I am so proud that this show has been able to do that, to be able to share great stories. And because when we started, like I said, it was just us talking shit and just having fun and just
It really did.
doing a whole bunch of
We
nonsense.
were
It was
wild.
It was like the Three Stooges.
We were
It
wild.
was like Three Stooges. It was just slapstick comedy and just a bunch of nonsense. But there was a pivot when we started getting guests who had these great stories to tell. And I always tell people I hate TMZ because they don't give you the true story. I'd rather people hear our guest story from them, not from us. So I appreciate you for coming on. So amazing. Like I said, when I first got the email, I was like, she's a little big for our show. We're just a little old chugging along, we're not. But then I had to realize that we've evolved. We've become that kind of show. So it's not surprising sometimes. It is sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, it's still surprising when alive, but it still feels good. But I'm gonna shut up because I want you first to take this again. Thank you for coming.
Really,
Please.
just it does.
Yeah,
yes, it does. It does.
So amazing. Please tell the people how they can find you, follow you, what you got going on next, and just everything great.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, Chris and DC, oh my gosh, like you have honored me from the moment I got on here, and I so respect what you've built and what you are building and what you're like. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm just getting started, and I have a feeling that feeling is mutual, and yet this is just the beginning.
No way. You got gumption, by golly.
Yeah, you got gumption.
And
And
the white 1930s.
Late 1930s. Yes, we got gumption, by golly.
You got gumption now?
Hey, man, I'm
You got
watching Andy Griffin earlier. We got moxie and gumption. Watching Andy Griffin, man. Don't judge
Just kind
me.
of sunk in and just like
Yeah, and little Opie was like, Pops, I got gumption. I was like, you sure do, Opie. Got gumption. I don't know what it means, but it just feels right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we got gumption. Yes.
oh my goodness.
you guys truly are like a testimony to bringing joy and authenticity to a full authenticity to what you do. And I love that. And I literally was just having a conversation the other day with a woman who said, she's like, man, I miss podcasts that just also make you feel like you're just having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, and you're enjoying the company of friends, and you go off on tangents and then come back to the point,
Jealous.
and so you guys are that, and I can't wait to share that with her, because that was literally just brought to my attention of just, some of these podcasters, when they get to be, bigger and grow, they get to be so produced, and it loses that level of authenticity. And even though your production value has gone up, I know that your level of authenticity is still true and from the heart, and there, and you bring the gumption. And so if your audience enjoyed this and they want to connect with me further, then you can find me on all the socials at crownyourself.now. And if you enjoyed this conversation, you can head on over to crownyourself.com and just click the button that says work with me. And I'd love to have a conversation with you. So that's
so dope.
So dope. Is that
Yeah, it's so dope. I love this. Love this.
Chris, before you go. Now go, Chris.
So this is the part where DC normally is like he can't follow the big guest, but I have no problem with that.
It's my show. I shouldn't.
Tune in tomorrow night, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Me, Tracy, and our new co-host Kira Brown will be sitting down talking to Roxy Hayes, who's a comedian, musician, singer, model. What is it this woman can't do? I don't know, but she's funny as hell. Tune in tomorrow, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, 9 p.m. Eastern. Blur's Eye View podcast. Tune in next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, who will have another guest. But we're always talking about the latest in geek entertainment news. We're going to be talking about House of the Dragon tomorrow, and we already know D23 kicks off, so Disney's going to have a buttload of news to drop. So we'll be covering some of that too as well. So tune in for that. That's going to be a blast. Oh yeah, look at that. You got my IG up there. Thank you. Go to Chris.Fury1 on IG. You can follow me on TikTok. You can also go to Blur's Eye View on IG, which I run that entire ship. That will send you to all the socials that I'm involved with, and all the TikToks and Facebooks and the socials and the IGs and stuff. But you can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Opulence Radio, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And that's my spiel.
As usual, people, because I'm lazy and reading is very fundamental, and some of y'all need to learn how to read. If you're watching this, it's down at the bottom. First of all, I would like to thank our guest, Kimberly Spencer. Miss Kimberly Spencer, thank you. Pleasure having you.
Definitely.
I'm going to give you what people have done as my cliche at this moment. I always tell people, once you're here, once your family, if you ever need to or want to come back on, always available, always open. The doors are never closed unless they are, which usually doesn't happen. Next week, people, we are doing WTS Jeopardy again. Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Can't wait for that. Yeah. Because I'm writing the questions. So working on that, working on writing the questions. I have to give a shout out to Beautifully Weird. That's Beautiful Weird. It's a program here in Massillon, close to where I live, that teaches young girls how to be confident in themselves, how to go through life things, issues, and stuff like that. They're looking to start a podcast here soon, but they also do an arts and conversations program where they do art and talk about life. Trying to teach young women how to be young women and get involved. So they are the program that is being sponsored this year by the 4C event this year. Well, actually next year. So it's a wonderful program for young ladies to be a part of, thrive, be around their peers, be creative, and just do a lot of things. So the 4C event, like I said, next year in July, it's either going to be the 15th or the 23rd. I don't know. We're working on that. I got to get back with the committee on that. But I'm looking forward to this event because it's going to be for creatives to come together and really get to know each other, speak about the business of podcasting, YouTubing, Twitching, cosplaying, making music, just creating and being in an art form and being with like-minded people and try to figure out how to do sponsorships and hearing from different panelists that we have coming. So I'm looking forward to this event. Planning this event is the bane of my existence. I hate it. I just really want to be the face. Not even the face. I just want to sit back and do nothing. But these ladies are forcing me to be out here as the face, and I'm enjoying it. It's just a fun process. I've never put together an event like this. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to get here so I can be done with this process. And that's just being honest. I don't like it. I don't like the planning. I don't like none of it. I just want to be able to chill. But it's for a good cause. With that being said, you know how to find us. You know where to find us. You know where we are. We're always in the same place. We always are. Right here. So with that being said, thank you to our guest, Kimberly Spencer. Chris, anything else?
We got gumption on both podcasts, I guess.
Oh, we got gumption and moxie everywhere.
Moxie, gumption.
Got moxie, kids.
Fortitude, intestinal fortitude. I guess the whole nine. We got it all.
We're all those 80 cliches when you're getting knocked down and you got to get back up. But
I hear Mickey in my head.
You're a bum
I hear
rock.
Eye of the Tiger. So.
You're a bum rock. But no, with that being said, one other thing. If you are a podcaster and if you're podcasting the right way, don't worry about nothing else. Everything else will fall into place as it's supposed to fall into place. I can attest to that. Doing this for 2 years only and being in the position that we're in, I feel blessed. I love what I do. I turn myself down. I love what I do. I like to hear myself talk, so I can't turn myself down. I love what I do. I enjoy being to talk to amazing people, make semi-decent content, depending on who you ask. I believe it's good, but critics. But don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about the views, the followers, the listens. Do what you do. Have passion. Everything else will follow. Good content beats hard work and talent. Because
and oversaturation.
Yeah, be you. Be different, man. Feel free to just, go with the flow. Don't let nobody put you in a box. And have fun. That's all I can say, man. Then do it with passion and a little bit of gumption.
And some moxie.
Moxie, right.
Moxie. Don't be a bum rock. But with that being said, man, like I said, as always, talk your shit, have fun, and enjoy. And be breezy. Yeah. All right. Good night, people.
Good night. Thanks for having me.
I'm with the shit, boy, get on my level. Doing 125 in my own lane, pedal to metal. One thing that I won't let you do, and that's gas me up. Keep my eyes open, letting nothing pass me up. Oh.